Brendan Sorsby's nomination for a major award just underscores the growth that number 2 has gone through in 2025.
You are Locked On Bearcats, your daily podcast on the Cincinnati Bearcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Bearcats. My name is Jeff Carr, and I'm all Cincinnati all the time. I have worked in multiple athletic departments in a media relations capacity, and I've been a season ticket holder for Bearcats football for 7 seasons now, and I'm glad that you're alongside me. Locked On Bearcats is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day, and we want to thank you for helping us make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in the country. On today's show, Russ Heltman will join us, and we will give you our predictions for the Arizona game coming up at noon on Saturday, a little bit later on in the show. We'll tell you which cat is best. In a few minutes, we're going to look at the basketball team and why they don't need to change a thing, and everybody needs to just calm down about one of these stats everybody just loves to harp on right now with this men's basketball team for the Bearcats. But we will begin with Brendan Sorsby's nomination for the Davey O'Brien Award, all on today's podcast here that is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app today, and your first $5 wager could win you $300 in bonus bets. That's right, download FanDuel today. And joining us, as he always does this time of the week, one of the most trusted voices around Clifton, Russ Heltman. Russ, what you got for me, man?
We are ready for a loaded weekend, Jeff. It's going to be a lot of fun. Got Bearcats football Saturday, Bearcats basketball Sunday. We are in the high traffic time, they would say, for the 2-lane highway of Bearcats football and basketball.
Keeping the Bearcats fire burning all week long. Absolutely loved to see the win over Dayton. I know it was a bit frustrating for one particular statistic, and we'll get into that here in just a minute. But I want to start with this football game because Arizona's coming in hot, hot-ish. I feel like they're a couple of plays away from being in the Big 12 championship conversation, but the Bearcats are coming off a bye week, and it looks like they are ready to get back on the right track. And they just got the great news. Brendan Sorsby is one of the 20 finalists for the Davey O'Brien Award. I think that this just underscores the forward momentum that he has built this season.
No question. I mean, look at Brendan Sorsby, 80.6 total QBR this season. That's top 15 in the country, 2,064 yards passing, 470. And when you account for the sack yardage, that's how many rush yards he has this season. Tied for, or just behind, I believe, Fernando Mendoza among total touchdowns accounted for this season with 29. Fernando Mendoza, #1 in the country at 31. He's been about as good as you can ask for. This is as good as you can expect Brendan Sorsby to impact this team, dating back to when he came here last winter and first signed on with the Bearcats coming from Indiana. So just another tip and another feather in his cap, another way to tip the cap to Brendan Sorsby. And this team kind of goes as Sorsby goes. Their 2 losses were his 2 worst games, and he's been pretty much lights out the other games that they've won outside of the UCF game. So this is a program that is directly led and kind of wins and loses at the arm and feet of Brendan Sorsby.
I was going to say, I would love to say that I believe that he's going to win. I'm not going to go into the merits of Julian Sayin and Fernando Mendoza. I think that most people would know.
Brendan Sorsby is not winning this award, unfortunately. It's not. Like he would have to throw for 400. He would have to count for like 500 plus yards each of the next 3 games with no turnovers, multiple touchdowns each game. I mean, unfortunately, the 2 losses are going to be a lot to overcome going up against Julian Sayin and Fernando Mendoza, who I believe, Jeff, neither of those teams have lost.
And to be honest with you, like, Scott Satterfield doesn't want to run the offense that way. He wants to give the running backs the ball, and like it feels like you would have to probably throw the ball 40 or 50 times to get those numbers, and that's just not something Scott Satterfield wants to do.
And I know Scott, they'll say we just want to score and we just want to get points on the board, but when you are last in the country in average time of possession by nearly 2 minutes,
that's true.
Any head football coach would like to even that out a little bit and get their defense some more rest, which a timely bye week last week for that.
But I think it's really cool to see him on this list. And just in case I kind of buried that a little bit. The Davey O'Brien Award is the award for the best quarterback in the country in all of college football. So to see him on this list is pretty cool. I mean, we mentioned those other two guys. Of course, you've got Bear Bachmeier, who we will see here in 2 weeks with BYU. Gunnar Stockton's on there from Georgia, Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt, and a whole host of other guys. I'm not going to go through the entire list, but just to see him included in that, like coming into this season, I don't know that we would have predicted this. I don't know that we would have said, yes, he's going to be on some sort of award shortlist this year. We would have hoped, but like based on what we have seen last year, we'd say, yeah, I don't know that we could predict something like that.
I had Sorsby as a top 25 quarterback, but I did not have him as necessarily being a top 20 quarterback, which is what you have to be in the mix for this award. So yeah, I expected Sorsby to play well. I expected him to look good, perform well, remolded that body over the offseason, the last 2 off seasons under Nico Palazetti. But this is as close to the ceiling that anyone could expect from Brendan Sorsby so far this season. No, I mean, they got 7 wins with 3 games left. I predicted them to go 7-5, but I didn't have them losing the final 3 games of the season. So I did not have them being this successful this early on.
And he's a huge reason as to why. And that also makes me wonder, like, the next step. Like, I know he has another year of eligibility in his back pocket, but is he going to be like an early day 2 draftee? And would that mean that he would leave after this season?
Remains to be seen. I think these final 3 games are going to determine his draft stock and the bowl game / any appearance in the Big 12 championship game. As of now, I would say he's definitely getting drafted. He's definitely a top 5 round prospect, and we'll see if he can elevate himself to a day 1 or day 2 prospect. Not going to go and say that that's happened just yet, but it's possibility for that to happen. And this is a very weak quarterback class ahead of a pretty strong quarterback class next year. So some factors to weigh in that sense. And on top of that, the NIL factor as well, where you might be making more money this coming season on the NIL package from UC as opposed to a 5th, 6th, 7th round salary.
Yeah, and sitting with a clipboard on the sideline for the Panthers or something like that. But I know this, like, it's awesome to see exactly how he has played. I had a discussion yesterday whenever I had Locked On Wildcats host Leaf Talene on the podcast with us, and we were kind of breaking down this matchup. And he had said that he thought that Noah Fifita deserved recognition up on the same level as Brendan Sorsby. And I said that there's just another level that Brendan Sorsby brings to the game, that you can be a really good passer, but he is a really good passer and a really good runner. That it seems as though, like, efficiency, he's just on another level compared to pretty much any other quarterback in the Big 12 for sure. And that's why he's on this list with guys around the country.
Yeah, I mean, Baron Morton would be up there as well. You mentioned Bear Bachmeier. Kind of the top 3 candidates to win the Big 12 have the 3 best quarterbacks in the Big 12. And I get the Arizona guy stamping the table for his quarterback, but Noah Fifita has not performed in the same tier as Brendan Sorsby, let alone better than him this season. 40th in ESPN QBR, has 4 interceptions on the campaign. He doesn't run the ball like Brendan Sorsby does, so just not able to, I think, get as much individual impact out of Fifita, even though he has been very solid statistically. 2,200 yards, 23 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's very good, but not quite the level of impact of Brendan Sorsby.
Then the shake a stick at. We aren't talking about the backup quarterbacks that the Bearcats faced in Oklahoma State and UCF. He's definitely much better than that.
I mean, you could argue this is arguably the best quarterback that Cincinnati has faced this season. You can make that argument with how Dylan Raiola has been up and down throughout this campaign.
Yeah, pure passing wise, this will definitely be a test, and that'll come into play here a little bit later on as we give you our predictions. But coming up next, we're going to tell you why men's basketball, the team, Wes Miller, they don't need to change anything about their offense. They need to just keep on running. FanDuel has this great introductory offer for your first $5 wager. If you place a $5 wager and it wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets. Those are odds you cannot beat. And you can put them on a money line. You can put that $5 wager on the Bearcats money line this Saturday against the Arizona Wildcats. Right now, the Bearcats, their money line is minus 220. So normally, if you put like $5 on that, you're going to win like $2 if the Bearcats win. Instead, with this new offer for new users, you can win $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You got to check out FanDuel today. They've got all kinds of great action going on when it comes to the NBA, college basketball. They've got live same-game parlays for the NBA. And, of course, Thursday Night Football. Who doesn't love to put a bet on the NFL? You can do it all in FanDuel, and you can do it in their app. So make sure you download FanDuel today. Thank you for making Locked On Bearcats part of your everyday routine and your first listen. And thank you for helping make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in the country. All right, Russ, switching gears to basketball here. I'm really happy so far with the fact that they're 3-0. I know it's been up and down, and that's the nature of this offense. They really want to go up and down the floor very, very fast. And everyone was worried, and I know that the joke was being thrown around, and quite frankly, I Googled it too. There at the beginning of the second half against Dayton, how many turnovers? Too many turnovers. And, of course, 31 was too many turnovers. So, thankfully, they didn't hit that number when it comes to setting the school record in a game. But they certainly seemed a little bit cavalier with the ball. However, that does not mean that I believe they need to change anything about the way that they go about scoring the basketball.
Nope. And I'm with you. I mean, I'm staying the course with Wes Miller. He is not going to be deterred by a few bad games that still have them at 3-0 and 2-1 against the betting spread. They easily covered against Dayton. They led the entire game wire to wire and had a few kind of hairy moments here and there. I think it got within 2 points at one point in the contest. But overall, Jeff, this is what this program has to do to reach its highest possible ceiling. They've already made the roster. They've built the roster in this image. And when you build the roster in the image of a playing style you want to play, you don't abandon that after 3 games, 2 of which against teams in the bottom 100 in KenPom's rankings, and a cover 12-point double-digit victory against a top 60 team entering the matchup in KenPom's rankings. UC, you either have to pick a lane at a school like UC, slow that pace down to a drizzle, and try to squeeze out the variance from that strategy, or hike the pace up as high as you possibly can and boost the variance in that sense. Playing down the middle and trying just to rely on your baseline talent to be able to play kind of a normal style of basketball, it's going to get you beat, and it's gotten the Bearcats beat consistently in this league. They have been, I believe, in the hundreds to bottom 100s in pace throughout the entire first 2 years of Wes Miller's tenure, and they haven't gone above 500 in either of those seasons in conference play. This mentality, this strategy is about getting your highest possible ceiling put above you in conference play, which we are still 6 weeks away from.
And I want to point out too, their turnover percentage right now is awful. They're 324th, I believe, in the country, or 325th, one of those two. There's 365 teams in the country, at least on KenPom's rankings. So for the fact that they're that low, and yet their offensive efficiency rating is still 113th, albeit you want that in the top 100 at the very least. You definitely want to see it climb a lot further than that. But the fact that their turnovers are weighing them down so much and their offense is still up there at that point, I think that we will see that turnover efficiency come back and actually happen, and they'll be a lot better at taking care of the basketball in this fast-paced offense, and we'll see that offensive efficiency rating really jump up. Not to the point where defensive efficiency is at, because that looks sexy right now. They got one heck of a landing pad, being the number 2 defensive efficiency team in the country. But where they are at rankings-wise in the offense, I think that's only going to go up. I think this is the floor of their offense that we've seen.
I agree. I mean, if the defense had fallen off a bit compared to prior years with this strategy, I would be a little hesitant to stay the course here. But the defense has gotten better than it's ever been, using this mentality, running as much as they have, kind of using 10, 11 guys in the rotation. So, I mean, it's so early, and I just some of the fans in this fan base, it's just like, what do you want? What do you want? This team
cold feet early.
This team had 50-1 or 40-1 odds to win the Big 12 entering this season. The goal is just to get to March. The goal is just to get to 11-2 and then go hopefully one game above 500 in Big 12 play, and you're dancing. So the bar to clear here is not national title, blowing everybody out in the first 2 weeks of the season by 30 type of expectations. But I guess some people have that, even though Wes Miller has never made the NCAA tournament and is dealing with, once again, a rotation that has just one player that was inside of it last year. And that player was immaculate on Tuesday night against Dayton. 20 points for Davey Thomas, shut down Javon Bennett, went 12 for 12 from the free throw line. He was completely lights out and kind of the most steadying force on offense for Cincinnati on a day where Kirk Riesa had 8 assists, sure, but paired that with 5 turnovers. And I mean, they're kind of hot dogging some of these turnovers. Like, these are going to get cleaned up in film study. Some of these in transition turnovers are going to get cleaned up. I would be shocked if this team is averaging 18.5 turnovers all season long, or 18.3 turnovers, which is where they sit right now, 353rd out of 365 teams nationally.
And I think there's a couple in particular that I can like point to in that Dayton game that I'm like, if they don't make that turnover, they score on that possession, and then the margin's even bigger at that point. And we don't talk about the hairy moments where Dayton gets close enough to make us think, oh boy, they're not going to mess this up, are they? But there were just a couple of those unforced errors that when those get cleaned up, they're going to be fine. A couple of those were with Aveline Gillette on the floor, and he kind of had some bad turnovers as he tried to make a pass, but there wasn't a pass to be made or something like that. And I think that when you consider some of the guys that are making those turnovers, yeah, Kirk Riesa is a little bit worrisome because he's going to be the starting point guard, but there's definitely some guys in the rotation that are making those turnovers too that I think that we will see a little bit less of whenever the stress gets ratcheted up a bit. So I think
like 4 or 5 of those turnovers were Kip Kissinger classics. I mean, just one of the worst officiated games I've seen in my entire time covering a Bearcats basketball game. This game lasted almost 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's just absolutely ridiculous. They had no handle on the contest at all. It was an absolute clown show of a refereeing. They were calling phantom fouls all day long. 4 or 5 of those ended up being offensive turnovers for the Cincinnati Bearcats. I mean, it was a weird game on top of that in terms of just the officiating. And I mean, these teams took almost 60 free throws. Yeah, they took over 60 free throws in this contest. It was absurd.
What was it? There were 4 Bearcats with 3 fouls at halftime. Like, it was ridiculous. The number of
6 Bearcats had 3+ fouls in this game.
And we're not even talking about a team that has just gone crazy with the fouls in the first 2 games. So I don't know what.
And they've never been a bad fouling team in the Wes Miller era. This was Kip Kissinger's fingerprints all over it.
Yeah. So I think that's a fine thing. Like, when you look at the rest of this, one of the things that really excites me about this offense is not just the pace. It's not just the tempo. Oh, the fact that they're in the top 30 in tempo is pretty fantastic. I love how much they're shooting the 3. Yep. And they're getting better at it as it goes along. And I think that we will continue to see that improve. Of course, Davey Thomas, the dude that is leading it all.
Yeah, Davey has carried over that awesome 3-point shot from last season. He's not taking as many of those horrific long 2s that we've seen him just not be able to hit consistently enough compared to his 3-point jumper. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from Davey Thomas so far this year. And this top 3 offensively is way better than their top 3 offensively last year. I would argue Kirk Riesa is a better number 3 option than Jizzle James would be for this team. And he was the number 1 option offensively for the Bearcats last season. Then you got Baba Miller and Davey Thomas kind of jockeying for that go-to scoring option status on the Bearcats. But yeah, like the talent level is so much higher this season. And the reason that talent is turning the ball over as much as it is right now is because you still have only had 5 kind of live action instances to show what you can do as a basketball team. It's a lot different running in practice than it is running when the lights are bright.
Yeah, I see a lot of turnovers, and especially on Kirk Riese's side, like we talked about the number of turnovers he has, where he is seeing a pass, and the guy that he is throwing to doesn't see the lane. And so when those guys link up, we're just going to see this offense shine. I am excited about everything that they've got going on. I think that there's nothing they need to change. Just keep on pushing. I know they got Louisville here coming up pretty soon, and Louisville just boat race Kentucky, made Kentucky.
Right. And it's like if they get beat by double digits by Louisville, cool.
That's what's supposed to happen.
That was already going to be a loss. That's one of the 2 losses I had on the board. And with the way Xavier's looking, that better not be a loss at Centos Center this year. That team looks like the worst Xavier outfit we've seen this entire, maybe this whole century. So that should be a victory for the Bearcats if they are playing decent football, or not decent football, decent basketball at all.
Yeah, that team from Norwood, they got beat up by Santa Clara.
So, they get beat by 30 by Santa Clara. I mean, good Lord.
If Louisville boat race Kentucky, I'm not sure what Santa Clara did to Xavier, but it's worse. It's much worse. So,
want to guess how many non-rim 2-point shots Day Thomas has attempted this season through 3 games?
Non-rim 2-point shots. I'm going to say I can think of 2 or just 1.
6 total among 20 or among 27 total shots. Just 6 from the non-rim area in the 2-point land. That's beautiful.
Give a golf clap on that.
That's absolutely beautiful. Yeah. And it's playing out like it did last year, Jeff. 1 for 6 on those shots. So honestly, just throw them all the way into the sun. Don't take them at all. And he's shooting 8 for 15 from 3.
Yeah. Give me something down in the key, or give me something outside on 3. That's what.
Insert the Oprah flash in the hand.
Exactly. Well, I'll tell you this, though. Let's switch gears back to football. Big game coming up noon on Saturday, and I think that the Bearcats got a real good shot to cover in this one despite an interesting defense in Arizona. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business are at your fingertips over on Supply House. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. The part finder tools and 3D schematics that they have on the Supply House website can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Plus, if you need parts fast, they have next day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and dedicated support lines just for you. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. We encourage you to keep the conversation going with us after the show is over. You can follow Russ at Russ Heltman 11 over on X, and you can follow me at Jeff Carr with 3 Fs over on X. You can also follow the show at LO_Bearcats. All right, noon. We got us a nice little early game, really early for Arizona. They're popping the bubbly on the champagne for the mimosas when they watch this one. I like the fact, and the line. This point spread has stayed at 6.5 in favor of the Bearcats. And I've seen that the over-under has kind of settled as well, right around 56.5. I don't know. Like, I get that I'm crazy to say this, but I still feel like both these teams are really going to try to run the ball more, because one of the things I got from our Arizona guy, Lee Talene, is that they've been unhappy with their lack of time of possession wins in this season. So I think there's going to be a concerted effort from both sides to play a more physical run style of game and really try to take over when it comes to just limiting the other offense's time on the field. And so I kind of see the under being hit, but I also see the Bearcats covering in this one. I got them winning 28-20.
Wow. You got the Bearcats covering. I think this is going to be way closer than people anticipate. This is a very, very solid Arizona team, a team that would likely be ranked had they pulled out the 31-28 loss a couple weeks ago to Houston. This is a team efficiency-wise, Jeff, that's better than the Bearcats. Down to down, snap to snap, 29th nationally in EPA margin this season, while Cincinnati is 32nd. And the big thing for me that's going to help Cincinnati win this football game, and the big key, obviously, is Brendan Sorsby, but not just his passing. What he does on the ground is going to be majorly impactful in this game. Arizona is horrific against quarterback designed runs, and they're just bad at much worse defending the run than they are against the pass. And that's before losing a guy. I forget it. I'm not even going to try to pronounce their starting nose tackle's name, who was declared out for this game, but he's solid. Over 62.5 PFF grade, 320 plus snaps this season. That's a major loss on the interior of this defense. It's a big reason why I think the Bearcats still win. but I don't think they're going to end up covering because of the offense on the other side for Arizona. UC wins this game, though, largely because Brendan Sorsby is going to dice them up with his feet. I mean, this is a brutal matchup for the Arizona defense. 118th and 123rd in quarterback designed run EPA allowed. Cincinnati's 12th in that figure. Spam Brendan Sorsby runs. I wouldn't be shocked and wouldn't be mad at him getting 15 plus carries in this game. Utilize that extra blocker in a lesser kind of beefed up defensive line with that injury for Arizona to attack this front. And then on the other side, I mean, when you look at the offense versus Arizona, very good coverage unit here. I mean, they're going to play man coverage. They're going to test Brendan Sorsby's ability to beat that coverage, which he's been much worse against this year compared to zone. And they have a top 5 mark in interceptions. They are getting their hands on the ball and creating big plays out of it. Now, Brendan Sorsby has not really put the ball in harm's way at all this season. So it's going to be a great test on that front to see who ends up breaking there. He hasn't had a turnover-worthy play, I believe, in over a month. So still top 10, top 15 in turnover-worthy play rate on profootballfocus.com. But this is a very good cornerback room, very good secondary with a top 5 interception mark on the season. And they're allowing just a negative 0.15 EPA per drop back. That's 23rd in the country. This rushing attack is going to have to work for the Bearcats. They're likely not going to have Evan Pryor. I would be pretty shocked if he plays in this game. Probably give that ankle one more week to rest up. And he is questionable along with Caleb Goody going into this one. Goody, obviously the biggest deep threat Cincinnati has. So the field could get tightened up a little bit there. All of these factors have me picking the Bearcats 31-28 against Arizona in this game. So similar kind of scoreline. I got them barely not covering. You got them barely covering. But overall, I think this is maybe a contest where Cincinnati has some hairy moments, so to speak, to harken back to our basketball conversation. This is going to be a really fun matchup. I'm excited to see how, on the flip side, Cincinnati's defense can handle Noah Fifita in this offense. I mean, 42nd in quality drive rate is the Arizona offense. They're going to be able to stay on the field, I think, much more succinctly than they have in other games, considering Cincinnati 110th nationally in quality drive rate allowed. And they're just not a very good passing defense, 69th in EPA per drop back. And that's been a big strength of the Arizona Wildcats this year, on top of a strong rushing game as well, 24th in EPA per carry. The rushing attack's likely going to decide this football game in terms of the other defense's ability to slow those down enough, get off the field, and try to kind of see who's going to win between a rock and a hard place, as Arizona has the 82nd ranked time of possession this season, and Cincinnati is dead last, 136th.
Yeah, neither team really likes. They want to score fast, so that's the thing that flies in the face of my under prediction. But the good news is we're both saying that the better of the two cats is definitely the Bearcats over the Wildcats. I do have, like, pertaining to the Evan Pryor news, and that makes a lot of sense to me that he doesn't play this week. But do you still give more carries? Because I know that Chance Williams had more carries than Zion Johnson did, but Zion Johnson looked a lot more explosive. And it kind of looks like he could be a dude in the future for this team. Does he get more carries in this game than Chance Williams?
I don't know. It's probably just going to be a hot hand type of thing. And if Zion Johnson shows the hot hand that he had, that's what Scott Satterfield's going to roll with. I mean, that's what he's kind of hearkened to throughout his entire career running the football. You've got a top 5 rushing attack once again this season in terms of yards per carry. Big reason why the Bearcats offensive line is nominated for that Joe Moore Award. And it's just going to be the hot hand, in my opinion. They're going to lean on Tawee Walker. Obviously, Tawee is good to go health-wise after a little ding against Utah. But I would say it's just going to be the hot hand for that kind of lightning to Tawee's thunder in this one.
That makes sense, because and especially with, Tawee going up the middle now with no, the nose tackle is out, and you're going to have a second guy in there, probably a rotation of a couple of different guys. Really hope that the Bearcats offensive line can continue to get that push that they've had all season long. It feels like, other than that Utah game, where it just kind of seemed like Utah had some sort of oomph. Maybe it was the mountains, I don't know, behind them or something. They just fed a little bit more into that physicality. But the Bearcats have won the physicality battle in pretty much every game this year other than that one.
Yeah, they have. And the turnover margin obviously going to be huge here. I mean, Brendan Sorsby, they've gone as Sorsby's gone. He's been, I believe, like a 47.1 QBR in losses this season and over an 80 QBR in wins this season. So if Brendan Sorsby can take care of the football, which he did not do against Utah, would they lose 2-1? And he had the fumble and the interception. So if they lose the turnover battle here, I think Arizona wins the game. But UC has not shown many consistent issues turning the football over, especially at home, where they are yet to lose a game this season.
I like that. We're starting the show with Brendan Sorsby, and we're ending it with Brendan Sorsby. Thanks so much for checking out today's Locked On Bearcats podcast. Like I mentioned earlier on, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment, drop a like, all the stuff helps out the algorithm for more Bearcats fans to find the show. And we want to thank you for making us part of your day. Now go check out Locked On Big 12. Drake Toll's got you covered. He's going to tell you who's going to win every week and give you some picks that you can take on over to FanDuel as well. That's Locked On Big 12, just like the Locked On Bearcats. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Russ, I appreciate you, man. We'll talk to you again next week, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.